show. I'm Kris Wilder, and you must be
Lawrence Kane.
Am I the marshal or the secret part of the team?
That's a really good question. I think we'll have to leave that for the audience to ponder in one of those, what's the sound of one hand clapping kind of ways.
Oh, man, you are deep. You are deeper than I thought you'd ever be. Hey, what are we going to do on the show today?
Dude, if you don't have fear, you're dead.
And Roadhouse.
Good practice, bad practice.
And right back. So anyway, Lawrence, it's no secret that I've got a bunch of teenage boys in the karate class, and they're sort of spread out in different sections and everything. And we've got a couple that during the summer have moved up into the black belt class because it's appropriate for them to be there and kind of swim in the deep end of the pool a little bit.
Yeah.
We were talking about this flinch response that is done, and it's basically that thing where you come up to somebody in the hallway at school and you do like you're gonna, you jump forward like you're gonna give them a headbutt, and the guy flinches and you go, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're chicken. Which, of course, we were saying, no, you're not chicken. That flinch response is fantastic. Keep it. Don't try to get rid of it.
It's a really good way to not end up in a lot of pain, actually.
Yeah. So somehow they've got it turned in their post-pubescent minds that this is a great idea, is not to show fear, to not have a flinch reflex, to be...
We be macho.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of machoism that comes from. But anyway...
Well, it was around when we were in school.
This is as old as us, if not older. And we're
probably
older than
a lot
dirt.
older.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the kids, and I'll change his name, Jake, he pops up with this and he goes, dude, if you don't have fear, you're dead. And it's like, yeah, my work here is done.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's actually profound in its simplicity. I mean, that's absolutely true.
And here's the thing is that weekend he was going to go climb Mount Rainier with his dad. Well, Mount Rainier, there's always people getting hurt up there.
Oh, yeah. One of the times I climbed Mount Rainier with my dad, as a matter of fact, one of the guys in our party had his leg broken in about 6 or 7 places.
Yikes.
And we had to carry, he got hit with a rock slide, and we had to carry him long ways back down. It was not pleasant.
Oh, man, he must have been blacking out.
He probably, I think he...
Well, he had to go into shock.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was ugly. I was not that old at the time. I was maybe 12 or 14 or something like that, somewhere in that age. And, I mean, I don't remember all the details because it's been so long. But, I mean, he was screaming most of the time. It was not good.
Oh, brutal. Well, the thing of it is that now I'm looking here, and Jake's going to go climb Mount Rainier with his dad. And I thought to myself, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
You got a healthy level of fear, a healthy level of caution. You're not gonna begin a conversation with, "Hey, watch this," or "It's okay, I do it all the time." Both of those
tend to not end well. Yeah.
Those are precursors to broken bones and bruises, if there ever was.
That is true.
Building off that fear, that flinch reflex, is really what the martial arts is about. Is leaning into the fear with a reasonable and metered response.
Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of see it as you're training the flinch to be, you're going from the natural reaction to a trained reaction, so that because you're always going to flinch.
Yeah, you're going to graft.
But you're able to control it to become something that's more productive than just flinching.
You're grafting on a reasonable response off of the initial reflex, because you know what, that reflex is faster than you can think.
Oh, absolutely it is. And the thing is, the difference between a really well-trained martial artist and Joe average guy is just the way you're recovering from that, right? I mean, you're both going to flinch. It's just one is more productive than the other.
You're both going to flinch. You're going to freeze. It's just how small can you make it?
Right. And the thing that a lot of people, you see a lot of these just screwy bunkai sometimes that are working on unnatural, reaction stuff, right? And it looks really cool when you both know what you're doing, but in real life it doesn't work because it goes against the flinch reaction instead of working synergistically with it.
You used a big word.
Ooh, yeah, I did.
Yeah. Well, that's really the end of this, is that, dude, if you don't have fear, you're dead. It's a good thing. Keep it. Don't lose it. Build on it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Lawrence, Roadhouse. It has been a long time since we've had a
God.
chance to talk. Yeah, I know. It's the
Are we
Gone.
doing that again?
It's the Gone with the Wind of our time.
Can I buy you guys a drink? Guess not.
Patrick Swayze is
Dalton.
I thought you'd be bigger.
Opinions vary.
When he's around, anything can happen,
How does a guy like you end up a bouncer?
Just lucky, I guess.
and usually does.
If somebody gets in your face, I want you to be nice.
Don't be rude.
Ask him to walk, but be nice.
Help this gentleman to the door.
Until it's time to not be nice.
So says the fighting philosopher.
He may be hard to handle,
I keep talking, you're gonna go off thinking I'm a nice guy.
I know you're not a nice guy.
but he's easy to like.
What's the matter, Dalton? Don't you like women?
Worst I ever had was wonderful.
He's not what you'd expect,
I thought you'd be bigger.
but there's one thing you can count on. He's the best friend a good time ever had.
You guys tired?
Doc, I'll get all the sleep I need when I'm dead. This is my town.
I'm not afraid of him. I guess you'll be having that fire sale now, all right?
You got your hands full, kid.
I just think I'm looking at a dead man.
Patrick Swayze,
For that line of work, I thought you'd be bigger.
Gee, I've never heard that before.
Roadhouse.
So what are we going to talk about Roadhouse?
Nothing,
Then why did you just play that?
because I wanted to hear it. We're done with the Roadhouse section.
Okay then.
Good practice, bad practice. Good practice makes good art. Bad practice makes bad art. That seems pretty simple. Garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah.
All right. Tell me something about bad practice, Lawrence. Grab me by my little sweaty hand and drag me down the road to knowledge.
Sure. Well, really common example, see it all the time, is sparring, right? People will do kata, people will do, kihon, basic technique, they'll do all these things that have good posture, the body alignment, the distance, they do all this stuff, right? And then they put on a pair of gloves and it completely goes out the window. And all they're doing is going and wailing on each other with virtually zero technique. You've seen that before, right?
Well, is that because of the rules?
I don't think it's the rules so much as just all of a sudden people forget that this is supposed to be to practice karate or whatever it is you're learning, and they just start thinking, oh, this is a fun competition, and the mindset drags it to this just, boxers when they spar use the same technique and the same body mechanics and all that as they do in practice, right?
Yeah.
So why is it that I would say at least half the karate guys I see that do this all of a sudden try to turn into boxers or something, right? I mean, they're not using karate when they spar. I mean, is it just me, or are you seeing that too?
Well, I think everybody's going to agree with you on it, but it is bad practice. And if you're practicing just for tournament, that's cool. Go ahead. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, I mean, well, see, tournament has their specific rules it use, right? And you'll go, if it's point sparring or whatever it happens to be, you'll work to the rules, and because it's a martial sport. Okay, cool, no problem. But I see people who are they kind of lose sight of what's the purpose of sparring, right? Like Ian Abernathy has kata-based sparring, which is an attempt to kind of elevate it to another level and have it integrate with his, practical karate curriculum, right?
Yeah.
That really works because it reinforces everything else you're doing. I just see a lot of it is just people go out there and it doesn't look any different except for that they're wearing gis than seeing a couple kids on a playground, right? I mean, I'm exaggerating a bit, but it seems like a lot of the underlying training seems to fall away. So you're reinforcing bad stuff.
You've made me angry, and I'm now going to get out my foam dip pads.
There you go.
Well, I agree
I mean,
with
it's
you.
not the, and by the way, I'm not universally beating up on sparring. Sparring has its place. It works, especially with scenario training and some of the reality-based stuff and things that are training for a goal. I'm just talking about the folks that, throw some gloves on and go whack on each other and totally lose the context here.
You know what I think? I think you're right. But I want to zig on your zag here.
Okay.
I think that bad practice is I think you should train like a tiger and not like a teacup. Teacups show up at the dojo and expect the tea to be poured into them. They show up empty and they go, okay, put it in me. I'm ready. Put it in. Yeah, okay. Fill me up. And they expect the sensei to do that. The tiger shows up at the dojo and says, I think I want that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, good. That's a good analogy.
It's the difference between passive and active learning. Passive learning, I mean, it's got its place. I mean, we all glaze over sometimes because it hasn't been the best of days, or we're tired, or what, who knows, whatever the
Sure.
reason is. I mean, we've all had those days. Everybody's human. However, to just completely engage in passive learning is really bad practice, because it doesn't teach you to actively seek knowledge.
Yeah, you're better off. I mean, I was going with the attitude of, if I learn one thing today, no matter how little it is, it's worth my time. You're better off doing a little bit of focused stuff that is positive, that reinforces your goals, and that's quality, than a lot of.
Start that over again, because that truck went through. So I want to take this out just a second. Now I see where it is. Catch that thought again, if you would.
I'd rather see. I think philosophically, having a little bit of focused, solid training, a short period of time, is vastly better than just kind of going through the motions, the rote motions, over a long period of time. And especially, I go with the attitude of, if I learn just a little bit, one new thing, anything, the session's worth my time. But I also go in with I want to reinforce those things that are going to drive me more towards my goal, make me more better than
mostest more betterest
than those things that don't. So going out there and let's say just hitting a heavy bag, even, right? If I'm going out there and I'm just wailing on it and I'm not paying attention to having good form, I'm reinforcing bad behavior.
Bad practice.
Bad practice.
In fact, I'd even, and I tell some of my younger students this: between now and next class, I want you to do these 3 beginning techniques of this kata 3 times. I don't want you to do them 4. I don't want you to do it 2. I want you to do it 3 times. The trick in there lies that it becomes a very active thing. It's like, oh, I've got to do this 3 times, instead of,
right,
I've got to do 15 minutes. 15 minutes makes them punch out 15 minutes. 5 minutes makes them punch out 5 minutes. I just got to do this for 5 minutes. But when you got to do it 3 times, no more and no less, it becomes very focused.
The counting shall be 3.
And I have said that to them.
Yeah,
I've said that to them, and 4 beeth right out, but they don't follow because they're 10.
They just aren't. Their education is deficient. But
yes,
but it's a really good point, because if you only have a limited number of times you're doing it, you're going to focus on doing it right. Going out there and getting sloppy. What gets practiced gets done, right? I mean, I am not by any means the best martial artist I know, not even close. But I've been in well over 300 fights.
Yeah, well, you're a security professional who's come to the martial arts. I mean, that's really.
I mean, so I knew going in, I need to learn stuff that is going to work. It's going to be in the appropriate level of force response. In many cases, it's going to be subtle, because I don't want to get sued. I don't want to get fired. I mean, there's specific learnings I have in mind, right? And I look for those things in in everything we do, right? And it's really helpful to keep that in mind. So I'm not just going out there and reinforcing something that if I do it in real life is going to get me in a lot of trouble.
Well, again, it's the difference between active and passive learning. So we both concur that good practice makes good martial arts, bad practice makes bad martial arts. That's a big no duh from the listeners. But the question is, have you implemented it, and have you implemented it with your students?
Oh, I'm into that. Right back.
You know, Lawrence, we give out our email at the end of every podcast. There might be one or two that we've spaced out and not done it, but we put our email in our books.
Yeah, it's in our books and our author pages.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty easy to get a hold of us if people want to.
Right, and I make it a point to always write back.
Oh yeah, me too. Absolutely.
But I know people that don't. And let me say this to any listener out there: if you have written Lawrence or myself and we have not responded, it simply means we didn't get it. For some reason we didn't get it, and there's a million things that can happen on that ultra web thing before it gets to us. But that's the point: is that we write back, and I want to tell you a little story about this because I think it's really important. You know the actor Ed Begley Jr.
Not personally, but I know who he is.
Yeah. He was the drummer in Spinal Tap.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. I think he
movie,
was
by
the one
the
who
way.
blew up. But he also has been in Best in Show, and he was on St. Elsewhere for however long
forever,
that ran, which
yeah.
I contend is quite possibly the best television show ever, St. Elsewhere.
Yeah, I kind of argue with The Shield and
Okay, we're going to put it in the top 5.
Okay, top 5.
Top 5.
I'll agree with that.
All right, 6 is Gilligan's Island. Ed Begley Jr. has, he's got a pretty impressive career. His father was a heck of an actor. You want to go see him in 12 Angry Men, with Henry Fonda and
Love
Jack
that movie,
Klugman.
by
It's
the way.
all it's all right there.
I was forced to watch that movie in high school, and I still liked it.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. So I guess that's a glowing recommendation for anybody who hasn't seen the classic 12 Angry Men. Watch it.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Ed Begley he is super green. That's his thing. He's super green.
Yeah. In fact,
And
I think he was on a Simpsons episode because they were poking fun.
Oh
at
yeah,
how
they're
green
poking
he is,
fun.
Yeah.
But it's okay with him. He's quite.
Hey, you're nobody until you're on the Simpsons, man.
Clearly, he was on a radio show, and I was listening to him, and I don't want to drink dirty water, but I also look at things with what I would consider to be a critical eye. I'm not necessarily saying one thing or the other, but you know what? If I've got an opportunity to reduce a little bit of waste or a little bit of my footprint, I do that. But I don't. It's not a religious
you're not
calling
like the
for me.
flaky. You're not like the flaky environmental wacko version of it, but you're being responsible.
And I'm always willing to entertain, something that somebody's got to say. Well, anyway, so I'm listening to Ed Begley Jr., and it was like he made sense on a couple things. He wasn't a wacko. He was going, this and that and the other thing, and this does this and da-da-da-da-da, and these are simple things that you can do. And I listened to it, and I went, yeah, I don't agree with everything that he's saying, but some of the stuff does make sense, and I can actually implement some of those things at no cost to myself and, do them, and they're pretty easy.
Yeah.
So I thought, I think I should tell him that. So I found his email, and I sent him an email, and I said basically that. Don't agree with everything, but you've made me think about some stuff. I appreciate your balanced, position, da-da-da-da-da-da, and all of this kind of stuff. By the way, your dad rocked. And and he sends me back an email, and he says, thanks, man, you made my day. He goes, I'm glad that you're entertaining some of the things that I've said. Glad you found it to be circumspect and, all that kind of stuff. And then he's like, and P.S., you're right. My dad did rock, and
that's awesome.
So Ed Begley Jr. wrote back to me. Now, I don't expect a Christmas card from him, and he only gave me 2 sentences.
Yeah.
But you know what? That was fantastic because I've written other people with comments that are germane to what has transpired around them and so forth. Nothing. Crickets.
Yeah.
Never got anything. And that's okay. I mean, not even a robot saying, due to the high influx, or anything like that. There's nothing. So I've written a couple people, and they have written, and I'm a big fan of that. I'm a
Well,
big
let me give you an
fan
example of that, right? So I write my first book, and the publisher goes, "Oh, so now you gotta go get testimonials." I'm like, "What's that mean?" And I figured out and all this, and I'm like, "Well, I don't know anybody." So I went through some books that I really liked. One of them was written by Lauren Christensen. I sent him a note, and guess what? He's one of my really close friends now. You
Yeah.
never know what happens. I mean, we've both trained with him. He's helped with writing projects.
Oh, we make no secret of
I
the
mean,
fact that we're huge fans of Lauren's. I mean,
yeah. Well, and the guy's just a monster author too. But the thing is, I never even
who are you?
yeah, he didn't know who I was, but he was one. He remembered how hard it was for him to break into the writing business. Least I can do is take a look at this thing for you. So he agreed. He ended up really liking it. He wrote a nice testimonial. We started exchanging emails, and I ended up training with him for a while. And it's. I mean, you never know. I've also had one guy write to me who's trying to figure out how to commit the perfect murder and ended up having to send an email string to the FBI, but that's another story. So, I mean, occasionally there's one of those things, right? But most of I'd say 98.9% of the time, just rounding.
There's not murder attached.
There's
murder most foul.
Yeah, there's some really cool people out there.
I just think it's common courtesy, and it's what my grandmother taught me. It's what my mother taught me. And you don't have to go on long. You just have to give a tip of the hat and say, "Hey, thanks, appreciate that." And I just put that under the title of being decent. And so Ed Begley Jr. goes down as being decent.
Yeah.
And we try to do the same thing. So if you do write to us, we really do get back to every email that we get. If we don't, we're lost in the system somewhere, send it again.
Yeah, I even check my spam blocker about once every 2 weeks, so not real frequently. And I've kept the same email address for, God, like 15 years or something, which is forever in internet years,
Yeah.
And so occasionally stuff does get lost. Usually I even find that too. So,
Well, so if somebody wanted to write you, Lawrence, how would they do it?
Well, that would be writing to L.A. Kane, that's L-A-K-A-N-E, L.A. Kane at ix.netcom, N-E-T-C-O-M.com, L.A. Kane at ix.netcom.com.
And you can reach me, Kris Wilder, at thedojo at quidnunc.net. That's thedojo at QUIDNUNC.net. Like I don't spell that enough. Well, listen to you and yours. I mean, anyway, hey, listen. Thanks for listening to Martial Secrets. Appreciate the HE double hockey sticks out of it. And as you're apt to say, Lawrence,
be safe, everyone,
and be well.
Hey, didn't I hear a rumor that Roadhouse was based on the life of Mark McYoung?
That's what I heard. Hi, this is Kris Wilder from Martial Secrets. Martial Secrets is free, but it's not costless. So tell your friends about Martial Secrets. Your good words are the best endorsement we can have. Also, if you like what you hear, buy one of our books, buy one of our DVDs. We think they're pretty good, and we think you'll find value in them too. As always, we appreciate you listening and your support. You can find us pretty quickly by just going to Amazon.com, typing in Lawrence Kane or Kris Wilder, and you can find all of our books and DVDs there. Thanks for listening, and be well.